Hello BookTube, and welcome back to your daily SF magazine. And today we are looking at If Science Fiction, or sometimes known as Worlds of If. This was published from 1952 to 1974, 75. And it started out as, it was basically a sister magazine to Galaxy. H.L. Gold did not edit it at the beginning. One of the earlier editors in the 50s was Damon Knight, the author and critic. H.L. Gold took over editorship in the late 50s until ill health sort of stopped him from editing, period, where Frederick Pohl took over. And it was sort of a second-rate, almost, science fiction magazine. It didn't pay as much as, especially Galaxy or others. But it did publish some notable titles. Robert A. Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, and I Have a Mouth and I Cannot Scream by Harlan Ellison. I Have No Mouth and I Cannot Scream, I think it is. And also Frederick Pohl later in the mid-60s was able to get A.E. Van Vogt back to writing, and it was the sort of first story in about 15 years or so, and it was published in here. And this is the British edition again, and I'm not sure. I'm sure there's some differences, and I have not spent the time to look up the exact differences. But there's novelettes In a Body by J.T. McIntosh, who was, that's a pseudonym of a Scottish writer, I believe, by the name of McGregor. And I remember enjoying his writing, but again, a name that you don't recognize anymore. Probably long out of print and nothing available. The Last Trespasser by Jim Harmon. I think it's actually James Harmon. I don't know his science fiction that much. I'm not sure if I've read any of his science fiction. But in the last 30 years or so, he's been writing sort of histories, or a history of the golden age of radio, old-time radio. That's where I know him from. And then we've got Hayden Howard, Murder Beneath the Polar Ice. Again, a writer I don't think was very prolific and forgotten. Doesn't ring a bell. Talent, short stories Talent by Robert Bloch, which we've already seen, the author who would become the author of Psycho. Time Payment by Sylvia Jacobs. She's appeared again. This is the second appearance of her. And I remember reading her stuff and liking it. I'm going to have to look her up, actually, and read a few of these stories and see if I remember them correctly, that they were pretty good. She wasn't very prolific. She might have wrote for 10 years, 15 years, maybe 20, 25, not a huge amount of time and not a huge output. Then we've got The Martian in the Attic by Frederick Pohl. The Non-Electronic Bug by E. Middleman. No idea who that was, and I had to look it up because they did run a series of prizes, or for aspiring writers. And that might be one of the stories, because all I can find is one story reference to his name, this story. So it might be the only story he ever wrote. And then we've got a feature, because at this time Frederick Pohl was feature editor, and the feature here is Worlds of If, which is reviews of books. And at this time, H.L. Gold was the editor for this in the 1960s. As you can see, it looks like almost this title has been ink stamped on the cover, because they did change things a little bit, and it's got a pricing, and it was numbered differently. There weren't that many uniquely British editions of if I remember. The ads are always interesting is here, and it's like, you could control your fate. Send for a free book. The Rosicrucians, San Jose, California. With a finger. And oh yeah, this is you can buy 1/3 of the list price, The Demolished Man by Alfred Bester, with for $1.25 for postage and handling. It's from Galaxy. Okay, I'll take 50. Um, yeah, and there's just usual double columned. It was sparse, I think, on interior artwork, but it was still okay. Anyway, see you next time.